Hi, it's Rabbi Lewis wishing you an early Shabbat Shalom, and wanted to talk to you this morning about Parashat MISHPATIM. And I have to confess, when I woke up this morning, my pre-coffee brain started thinking, MISHPATIM, my gosh, it sounds like mashed potatoes. And after I got past that initial thought of that just being weird, it occurred to me that this may actually be onto something. My pre-coffee brain could have been onto something here because I immediately started thinking about the world's and history's most famous mashed potatoes, at least in cinematic history. And that was in the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, when Richard Dreyfuss's character famously constructs his mashed potatoes into the model of the Devil's Tower Mountain. And why this actually makes somewhat of sense this morning has to do with this Torah portion containing 53 mitzvot. Out of 613, this Torah portion contains 53 of them, a very high percentage. And it causes us, especially perhaps as Reform Jews, to say, okay, so we have all these mitzvot, but today, do we really have the opportunity to practice all 613? And what do we do with all of them, knowing that many of them, I mean, this Torah portion has the laws of how we handle slaves, Hebrew slaves in our households, and we obviously know that we no longer abide or pay any heed to commandments like that. So what do we do with all of these commandments that we have? And at its essence, that is what Reform Judaism, our mission, is to look at the commandments, look at our traditions, and reshape them. Like perhaps a bowl of mashed potatoes, we can take what we have and construct them and build them into something that's perhaps looking slightly different on the outside, but substantively contains all of the same materials. And you don't have to take it from me. In 1937, the Reform leadership, the rabbis of the Reform movement, put together their second iteration. This was following the Pittsburgh platform that was in 1885. In Columbus, they developed what they call the Columbus platform. And among their statements with regarding Torah, I'm going to read a little bit of it for you. It says, "The people of Israel, through its prophets and sages, achieved unique insight in the realm of religious truth. The Torah, both written and oral, enshrines Israel's ever-growing consciousness of God and the moral law. It preserves the historical precedents, sanctions, and norms of Jewish life, and seeks to mold it in the patterns of goodness and holiness. Being products of historical processes, certain of its laws have lost their binding force with the passing of the conditions that called them forth. But as the depository of permanent spiritual ideals, the Torah remains a dynamic source of the life of Israel. Each age has the obligation to adapt the teachings of the Torah to its basic needs in consonance with the genius of Judaism." The genius of Judaism, a very large and healthy portion of mashed potatoes. And it's incumbent upon us to continue to mold it into something that is helpful, guiding, and beneficial to the world in every age. And the joy that we take from that, the goodness that we gain from adding perhaps more rituals to our lives, well, with our mashed potatoes, that just adds the gravy. Anyway, so let's continue celebrating Shabbat. Let's study Mishpatim, and let's continue to take all the beauty and genius of Judaism throughout time and continue to mold it into something beautiful and perfect. Shabbat Shalom.